I'm going to demonstrate a typical narrative structure. It's also known as the narrative pyramid or a narrative arc. So let's draw it first. So it looks like an arc or a pyramid. Okay, so the sequence of events that happen within a story or the narrative, these are known as the plot. At the beginning, we have the exposition. This is the beginning. It's the initial setup. Here you will find out about the setting. That's where the story takes place. That's the place and time. You'll find out about the characters. You may find out about the main character and other characters, including secondary characters. For instance, the main character, you might find out about the protagonist. That is the leading character. The exposition also establishes the mood. Mood is the feeling or atmosphere the reader gets when reading the text. It's what you feel as the reader. For instance, does the start of the story feel carefree or cautious? Does it feel gloomy or happy? Does it feel joyful or lonely? Does it feel frustrated or cautious or calm? The writer creates the mood with the language he or she uses. Consider how adjectives can change the mood and tone of a piece of writing. I'm going to talk about tone in a moment. In the exposition, you may also get the author's point of view about something. There will be tone as well. In other words, what the author feels about something. The words he or she uses will demonstrate the writer's tone. For example, the violent and aggressive prisoners stormed out of the gates. How does the writer feel about the prisoners? He uses the adjectives violent and aggressive to describe them. So to me, as the reader, I interpret that he doesn't like them. That's his tone. But the reader may feel worried for those prisoners. That's my mood. In the beginning, things may be very settled, and this is called equilibrium. This is a stable situation. However, sometimes the writer starts with chaos, where things have or are about to go wrong. Often, it may be a point taken further up on the pyramid. This is called disequilibrium, where we start with chaos, where things have or are about to go wrong. This might make the reader feel unsettled at the beginning. As we move along this pyramid, we have an inciting incident. Something that starts the complication. This is also called the narrative hook. As it hooks the reader in and you want to continue reading. Next, as we're going up, we have the rising action. This is when we know who the protagonist may be, the leading character, the main character, and we may know who the antagonist is. This is the protagonist's adversary. or the opponent. The main purpose of the rising action is to introduce a complication. There may be more than one complication, and it may be to do with people, to do with nature, circumstances. This conflict or problem continues until the high point is reached, and this is called the climax. Here is the crisis, conflict, and the dilemma is at its highest point of tension. The character realizes he or she must make a choice and decide how to solve the problem. The showdown is coming as the character makes his or her decision. There are 4 types of conflict. 1. Human versus human. 2. Human versus nature. 3. Human versus society. 4. Human versus him or herself. So these are internal thoughts. So this is him or herself. It's internal conflict. Next, we have the falling action. Events take place as a result of the climax, and we know that the story will end soon. The conflict will show us some resulting events which lead us to the resolution. At this point, the character solves the main conflict or problem, or someone solves it for him or her. Finally, we have dénouement. This is a French term, dénouement. This is the ending. The conclusion. At this point, any remaining secrets or questions or mysteries which remain after the resolution has been solved by the characters or explained by the author. Sometimes the author leaves us to think about the theme or future possibilities of the characters. The theme may be what the writer wants us to be thinking about. You can think of the denouement as the opposite of exposition. Instead of getting ready to tell us the story by introducing the setting and characters, the author is getting ready to end it with a final explanation of what actually happened and how the characters think or feel about it. Generally, the tension is gone and the loose ends are tied up. Thank you for listening.